Hi, everyone. I'm very excited today. Look at the smile. You have the prettiest smile. It's so captivating. It's the first thing. Everyone, just take a second. It's just really lovely to see. So, Liliane, saying your name right? It's really pretty name.
It's
Liliane
actually
Grace.
the spelling is French. Yeah. So it's the pronunciation with the E on the end is Liliane. It's French. But Mum called me Lillian and Dad called me Liliane. So both are good.
I'm going to call you Liliane. I'm going to call you Liliane Grace. Is Grace your last name?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, it's such a
And there's a
pretty name.
story behind
Wow.
that name too.
Okay. I'm all ears.
You want the story? You want the story? Okay. All right, here's the story. The story is that I was one of these girls who wanted to be married. And by the time I was 21, I'd been engaged and unengaged and disengaged twice. So I was so heartbroken by these broken relationships that I decided I was trying to be Mrs. Somebody. And so rather than that, I had to marry me, be me, And so I decided to marry myself, and I chose my own surname and changed my surname by deed poll. And that's what Grace is. It's my own chosen surname from the age of 21.
I love that story. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's such a pretty name. I'm like, right, okay. That's a great story. And you know what? I would marry myself if I had a smile like you too.
Do you know the really funny thing about that story, which I'm only just realizing, is some 10 or 15 years ago or something, I wrote a song called Looking for Me. And it's just finally coming to fruition, composers working with me and all that sort of thing. And I remembered the story and I thought, oh, that song is actually an expression of this story, because it's all about, instead of looking for someone to be your other half, it's about connecting with yourself, loving yourself, committing to yourself, and then out of that, you're a whole connecting with another whole rather than a half looking for another half, So
I love that.
yeah,
I always thought that narcissistic people would want to marry themselves. Now I see that what you made a whole new meaning of it. I think that's brilliant. That is really brilliant. So you're very brilliant. Your website is chock full of so much. We have to actually break you into pieces because there's so much. And then I love the way with all of your books that you've written that you also put it to like work as a speaker for professional development. So when did you want to be a writer?
Since I was a child. So I probably filled my first exercise book with stories when I was about 7 years old. So I've been writing since I was very young and entering. I think I placed in my first literary competition when I was about 14. So it's been a long time thing for me. Yeah.
Wait a second. So the stories that you were writing when you were younger, were they real stories of your life or were they made up stories that you came up with?
Oh, made up stories. When I was a young child, they were influenced by Enid Blyton. And then as a teenager, they were influenced by Mills and Boone, so they were made up stories, definitely. Yeah.
I love that. I used to read the Nancy Drew stories and Bobby. What was the Bobby one? There was a Bobby. I can't think of her name. Oh my gosh. And so the mastery. Tell me about the book. What exactly?
Yes. You want to hear about that one?
I really do, because I have a 14-year-old, Alana, and she's just getting into reading. It's not, so if you have a child that's not loving reading, then this sounds like an exciting book. But I love the fact that you've got the bullying and you're hitting like the issues that take place. So yes, I would like to hear more about it.
Okay. All right. So let me give you some background context on me and why I wrote the book first. All right. So yes, my mother, I come from a Jewish family. Mum went through the Holocaust in Poland. And so when she came here to Australia, she had all these questions about how could such a thing happen? How could people treat each other like that? And she began to study and look for answers. And she felt the rabbis were not giving her the answers she wanted. And so her search took her into Eastern philosophy. And she ended up accruing, see this library behind me. So she had this vast library of books. And there were books about like everything from UFOs to the power of your subconscious mind to life and teachings of the masters of the Far East to, just all this stuff. So as a teenager, I started dipping into her library and reading the books. And I became fascinated by ideas of the power of the mind and personal mastery. And because I'd grown up with these stories of the war and the really shocking thought that at any moment one group could turn on another group and persecute them, and I guess that gave me a feeling of lack of safety. And so I was looking for how to be safe. And so at an unconscious level, I think, and so this idea of mastery really resonated with me. And then I had children, and you want to give your children the best ideas you have, don't you? You want to, really empower them for life. And so all the three things came together was one, the love of writing and especially fiction, because I do love imaginary stories, and the love of these principles and these ideas I'd been studying, and the fact that I want to my children and other children around the world. And so I wrote this first novel, The Mastery Club, and it came to me as an idea about a girl who's fascinated with stories of magic like Harry Potter. And she meets another girl whose parents have been engaged in study of the power of the mind. And so this other girl who's been engaged in this power of the mind stuff, who's called Nina and has green hair, she wants to set up a mastermind group, a mastery club for young people who will sort of support and challenge each other in using their minds productively and in achieving their goals and their dreams. And so Natalie, who's been in La La Land with make-believe wands and all the rest of it, is just her mind is opened by this possibility that people can do magic for real. And so together they start to form this club, and in the process, Nina to the 10 lessons about how to deliberately create one's reality, you could say. So there you go. That's the background and what it's about.
Has anyone take this into real life to create a mastermind for our teenagers?
Well, there are definitely kids, from around the world. When the book first came out, I'd have people emailing me and saying they're starting a mastermind group in New York or, here or there, whatever, which was very exciting. And then I developed a 10-week program based on the book. And that's been taught here and in 5 other countries. And I'm actually teaching a mastery club group online to a couple of women. So it applies to women, to kids, to families. I've worked with families. Yeah.
I love this. First of all, I want to tell you thank you. I am Jewish. And so the story of your mom means a lot. And I was involved with, in South Florida, we have, and I know I'm not going to say it right, but we have the Holocaust Remembrance Center. And they created an event that was amazing. What they thought was to team up high school students, 10 to a table with one survivor or a child of a survivor, so that they could hear the story, all to really stop the hate, just like what you were saying. So I know you teach the bullying, and there really is a correlation between what you were saying, like what happened in the Holocaust and how people could turn on each other and the hate. And I witnessed it. So I was I helped. So I was kind of like the, I can't even think of the word, to help the survivor make sure that they had everything that they need. And then the students could understand, because sometimes the accent's pretty thick and it's hard to understand. So just helping to make sure everyone was comfortable at the table. And I could really see the change when they really understood and learned what was taking place and how they felt when they were younger too. So that is brilliant. And so what are some of the topics, like the tips that the kids would receive reading the Mastery Club? One is the anti-bullying.
Yeah, but I'll tell you those 10 lessons, all right? Because that will put it into context. So the very first lesson in the book is a foundational idea around that thought is creative, that we are creating our lives with the way we think, all right? So that's the first one. The second one is where the kids are, Nina invites them to choose a goal they want to achieve. So it's this idea of planting a seed of what do you want to grow in your life. In the third session, in the third lesson, she teaches them visualization. So they learn to relax and visualize this thing they're wanting to create. The fourth lesson, they do something that is often known as a vision board, or I call it in the book a treasure map, where they get pictures and things of all the things they want to create in their lives, and they create this map. So those are the first 4 sessions, and they're all lessons in the book, and they're all quite practical. But then it goes into the powerhouse ideas. So there's the fifth lesson in the book is called First Force, Second Force, Third Force, which means if you have a goal or an intention, and then we typically experience some resistance, a reaction, and then we have our response. So what's our response to that going to be? Are we going to get up or fall, give up, sort of thing? So that's that next one. So that's about resilience. And then there's something called the law of polarity. So that's your yin yang symbol, where we've got light and dark, male and female, life and death. That all of life is a set of polarities, and we're always somewhere on this continuum between the two extremes of something. And that the point is to be in balance, in the center as much as possible. And so that's a lesson that has an interesting ramification in relation to bullying, because with bullying, you've typically got someone who's very puffed up and full of themselves, who is energetically attracted to someone who's very kind of self-demeaning, or has lacking in confidence, and they're drawn together energetically, chemically, you could say, in order to balance out the charge. So one is like a positive charge of how good am I, and one is a negative charge of how inadequate am I, or whatever it is. And so they're drawn together to learn from each other, and often all they do is they clash and there are sparks and it doesn't work, and there's a crushing experience. But essentially the purpose is for the bully, for the one who's too full of himself, to come down a little bit, to experience a little self-doubt about their behavior, and for the one who is lacking in confidence to get a spark of kind of anger, even frustration, like, don't you treat me like this, I'm worth something, and to come up a bit in self-worth, so that there's a balancing. So then there's a lesson called the law of resonance and vibration, and the principle there is that everything in the universe is in a state of vibration, absolutely everything. And our emotions are energy in vibration, energy moving through our bodies in vibration. When you're frightened, you're vibrating. When you're angry, you're vibrating. When you're happy, you're vibrating. Like, they're just different frequencies of vibration. And so our goals also, in a way, have a frequency. And so if we are vibrating at, I'm not very good at anything, like that kind of vibration, and the goal is to be a champion something, which is vibrating up here, we're out of sync with it. We're not in resonance with that vibration. So we have to be in resonance with the thing that we want to manifest it. We have to be at that same level of vibration, you might say. So it's about changing where we're vibrating, Okay, so then there are another couple of lessons that are things like, you have to become a new person. So the person who sets the goal and the person who achieves the goal are going to be different people, because you grow into the goal, And also the idea that they're not just ideas. You've got to apply them. We can't just read them and leave them in the book. We've got to apply the ideas in our lives to get the result. And then the last lesson is that you've got to sort of hold the goal, but then also and nourish it, but also let it go. You can't. It's not, like you can't plant a seed and then keep digging it up to see how the roots are going, because it will never establish. So there's a bit of a kind of a care for it and let it go, trust, kind of a process. So those are the 10 lessons, and how the bullying kind of concept relates.
I want to go back and being a kid again. This is so interesting, because right now, so I'm 58 years old, and it's really the first time in my life, maybe about 2 years ago, hearing about this positivity and mindset and dream boards and how you can, your vision. And I often will say something like kind of negative, like, oh, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll have someone say, you got to stop talking and thinking like that, Adrienne. You're setting your own path. And I'm 58. So if I started, let's say 3 years ago, 55, but you're saying that I could teach this all in a lovely book style for my 12-year-old, that is really a beautiful gift that you wrote and that you're doing. And I don't know anyone else that's actually targeting to an audience that really needs it more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, our teenagers. So what's the youngest you would say for the mastery?
Well, I would say 9-year-olds are probably really good. I've had parents read it to 4-year-olds, seriously. But
wow,
yeah, but I'd say 9 is probably a good age. Yeah.
I have a crazy question. At what point do you get a book into a library? Like, what does that look like? Because I would think that as much as you want to sell books, and I get that, how does it work in like a library? Is someone donating your books to a library, or do they have the opportunity to order the books?
Yeah, absolutely. You can either ask the library to order the book in, which is either a question of contacting me directly or contacting. Usually it would be a distributor, but at the moment it would be the printer who produces my book, because they are effectively the distributor. Or you would buy it and donate it to the library, I guess. So yeah.
That would be a lovely thing to do. And then when the kids are reading the book, can they tell that is there like a few oys in there with Australia, or is it like how is it written?
There are some Australianisms in it, but I don't have an oi. I don't think there's an oi.
You have a mate. How about a mate?
Mate. Is there a mate? I'm not sure there's a mate, actually, because it wasn't this particular one was not that Australianized. I've got written other books where I think there's a mate, but not this one. Yeah.
So, and then, okay, so thank you. I feel like I understand this book more, and I definitely want to get it. And I think, so is anyone doing masteries here? Like when a school gets this book, are they understanding that it's not just a book for kids to read, to really have conversations around it?
Well, there was a woman who was running programs in schools in America, but I don't think there is anyone at the moment. So if anyone's listening and watching this interview and is interested, contact me, or Adrienne, if you are. I've got to say,
I need more time. I really do think it makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Because it's not just a book to read. It's a book to really build. It should be part of the curriculum.
Absolutely. And there are schools where I've taught it, and there was one particular teacher who said, I want to make this a mastery club school where every student goes through the program. Now, unfortunately, she then swapped schools and her role changed and all the rest of it, and it didn't end up happening. But that was like, she just nailed the idea, the vision. Because, when I wrote it, the idea I actually had was mastery clubs in every neighborhood, the way that we have football clubs and tennis clubs and whatever else. Because, we all have got goals and dreams that are important to us. And to come together in a group, every neighborhood, and support and challenge each other with achieving that goal. Don't you think that would be fantastic?
I think it would be. Here in Volusia County, I live on the east coast of Florida, Daytona Beach. A lot of the schools have what's called academies. So Academy of Finance, Academy of Video Games. They could easily have Academy of Master. It's really a foundation for your future. I absolutely love it. I love hearing, I can read, but sometimes I need to absorb by actually hearing. And that's why when I think I'm very, into differentiated teaching. So, I know myself, I know what I was watching. I was watching Edward Snowden. I was watching the movie Snowden. I learned more from like a kind of a semi-fake documentary than reading. It's just how I learn better. So yes, I think that this is a great idea, and hopefully someone listening will actually take it and offer it to, or just, like the Girl Scouts, or, it's just smaller groups. It's for boys too, right? So the Boy Scouts could do it as an example. So I think any of that would be a great way. You get them to read, and then to learn, and then to imagine, and then for vision, and it's all positive. Yeah. There's not one thing negative about anything. This is all about getting your mindset. All right. So now tell me, you've written a few other books too. And then how do you also, now you're teaching leadership development. So can you weave that into what you do?
Well, so the Mastery Club is the core of this leadership development. And I've written a sequel to the Mastery Club called The Hidden Order. And the hidden order takes all the ideas further, goes deeper into the goal setting process, into some of the challenges with it. And it also looks at things like, so we look at the world around us, and especially today and this year with the madness that we've experienced, and we say it looks like the world is just chaotic and broken, and unfair and all those things. But there is a hidden order at work when you know what to look for. And so the hidden order shows the reader some of the other laws that are at work and how to recognize this hidden order. And in that book, there is an Indigenous character, there is a puberty rite of passage, there is a character who has cancer, they talk about war. So there's all this sort of stuff about that's deeper ideas. I've also just written, I'll show you some covers actually. So this is the Mastery Club.
Oh, good, thank you. Oh, is that a window?
Visualizing the stuff that they want to create. But the original cover had this green-haired girl on it, and this is the hidden order. I've got a new cover coming out for the hidden order, but the original cover was just, whoops, hang on, I'm doing that the wrong way. It was just this, where am I going this way? Green-haired girl on the cover for the Mastery Club. But since then, my latest book is Power of the Light. And this one is about a boy whose father has cancer and what they do about it. Cancer is a true pandemic as compared to this COVID virus, which they're establishing as really just a flu. But Power of the Light is about this boy whose father has cancer and how it affects the family. And he goes into a sort of a dream world where there is a regime trying to crush people. And sort of government control and things like that, which is all kind of spookily reminiscent of what's happening today, and of course the wartime things that you and I know about. And so this book, there are some lessons taught in that book about how to respond to things like that, and it's all about emotional responsibility. So there's leadership in that as well. And then this one is a novel that I wrote for teenagers about money and finance. And this is a collaboration with a woman who created a business called Money Mastery for Teens. And she wanted to convey to teenagers that there are 4 money personalities. So 4 ways of responding to money. And so we came up with the idea of a story about 4 teenagers who are offered a school trip to India and how they respond to the opportunity. So, one of them is very entrepreneurial and another one is very good at saving, and another one, it just assumes her parents will pay for her and send her on the, so that's the kind of, and so the first third of the book, they're raising the money for their trip, and then this middle third, they're in India, and the last third, they come home, and each of the families is dealing with financial issues so that we could kind of teach some principles about money and finance and all the rest of it. So that's that book. And then I've got these are for the younger kids. Whoops, I keep forgetting where the camera is. So this is a book for about a man called Don Tolman. This is a real man who is a health educator, and he's very inspiring. And this is a man called Dr. John DeMartini, who is a behavioural educator, also very inspiring, and who's influenced me and my thinking a lot. The Boy Who Barked, and this one, The Boy Who Found His Pulse. So you can see that all of these books are about leadership at one level or another. They're all about really self-leadership. It's about responsibility. And so then I develop programs and I give talks and teach and all this, around bringing these ideas out of the books into our lives.
Wow. Wait, so how long has it taken you to how long did the Mastery Club take to write the books?
Well, it depends if you want gestation from the initial idea to the end, or just the writing, because
no, the whole thing. Like, I like from
the whole thing,
beginning where you're thinking.
I've noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I reckon that there's kind of almost like it's an 8-year process. I'll have an idea, and it would be cooking around at the back of my mind, and for a long, and I'd start a file where I'm gathering ideas, and then suddenly it's like, now write it, and boom, 8 months or something, and it's written. So that's that's been the process with a few of the books, where there's been a bit of a gestation period, and here's another one. This is my book for women, Adrienne. You might like this one. All right, Wanted Greener Grass. Whoops, which way is this blooming camera? So
Wanted Greener.
Yeah, so this one is about a couple whose marriage is, just flat. It's just not fun anymore. And at the beginning of the book, the husband goes to England for his father's funeral. Or, well, he goes hopefully to see his father before he dies, but he just gets here in time for the funeral. And while he's gone, his wife thinks, I'm going to, when he comes back, I'm going to suggest, like, let's call it quits. It's not really working anymore. But while the husband's in England, he's been very affected by his father's death and what he's learned about his father. And he writes her and says, I'm coming back different. I'm going to be different, And so she's like, okay, wait and see, and he comes back and he is different. He's much more present in the relationship and more romantic, and he throws off his very staid side of his personality, and he resigns as an accountant and he starts mowing lawns, like real behaviour change. And so things are different and she's really happy and they're going along, but something isn't right, And so in the process of kind of trying to understand what's not right, she learns some things that are very, very shocking. Now, I'm not going to tell you anymore because it's really, you got to get the journey of the book. But one of the things in this book was what I wanted to convey was the idea of the hero's journey, that each of us is on a hero's journey in our own life, where we reach a point in our life where we are what's called to adventure, because we are living too small and we need some growth. And so we're presented with, whether it's something out in the world for us to tackle, some challenge, or something inside of ourselves that we need to tackle and overcome or grow through, or whatever it is. And so we go on a hero's journey, and along the way we experience all sorts of obstacles that we have to deal with, or enemies, and ultimately we want to achieve the nectar, the treasure, the whatever it is, at the end. And so that's an idea that is woven through that book, is this hero's journey and the process we go through in self-realization, in becoming our best.
I love this. My brother Stephen used to say, because I moved, I think I went through the same thing. And at 44, I had a baby, my fourth child. I have 3 older boys. And at 44, I had Alana, and I wanted to move from Connecticut to Celebration, Florida, the town that Disney built. And then I moved again, and I moved a few other times. And my brother said, well, you think the grass is greener on the other side. Yes. And I'm like, no, I mean, I don't know if the grass is greener. I just want to go check it out and see. Like, it wasn't because I felt that there was something better, but it was more like, what else is there? Is there another color grass that maybe I don't know of? So I love that wanted greener grass. That's really great, because I could actually, what is that called with the word where I want to say resin, but I know that's not the right word. I can resemble that, I'll say.
Yeah. So you relate to that idea, and really and truly, like my core message is there is no such thing as greener grass, because you get over there.
That's awesome.
And, yeah, it's different. Exactly, you nailed it. It's, as you said, you get over there and it's different, and there are pros and cons to that new world,
Exactly. I love this. I love what you do. You do this full time, so you are really busy with your writing, and then you're selling. Do you do your own website too? Is that or do you have someone else do it for you?
I've had I've got to tell you another part of my story, but I've had other people do the website, and I'm in the process of upgrading it and changing it and all the rest of it, and moving it to a platform where I can maintain it more myself, because it's been in a one of those languages that it's hard to understand the code and all the rest of it. So it's coming into something I can manage. But yeah, look, I do other things as well, in that I teach creative writing, which I love doing. And I teach short story writing or novel writing or just creative writing, and I teach business writing at times. And I also work as an editor. So I help other people develop their own books. So all of my work is, yes, it's around story. It's around whether it's imaginary story, my own story, and marketing my own story, and all that sort of stuff, or it's around assisting other people develop their story, or it's around personal development and our actual real life story. So it's all kind of just one of those aspects. That's the core of what I do.
Uh,
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so glad that you connected. I'm so glad that we connected. I want to ask you about Australia. I want to let you know that all of our hearts were really very heavy with what was going on with Australia and your fires, and it was happening at with so many things going on. I don't know if we were ever able to really. I mean, it was just so heartbreaking. And
Mm.
I know that I was grateful that we could bring our firefighters over there. Was
Mm.
it close to where you are? And what is everything like right now?
Not close to where I am at all. We are actually in a kind of rural, semi-rural area here, but we were quite safe from those particular fires. But I know that was really disturbing. But my niece's father lost his home, so we're
Oh,
close in that sense, in that. And we're actually about to move from where we are into another area, so into another state, in fact. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this summer. But yeah, hopefully, that was very difficult. And you mean you've had the same
what was it?
in California?
No, we do. So sad. When
Yeah,
was it in
terrible fires.
Australia? Awful. When was Australia's fires?
We had last year, and
Was it last summer or was it?
yeah, well, it was actually before the summer. It was in spring, I think, that it was happening last year. It was sort of already happening now, a year ago. And it was just that horrendous where, for example, in Sydney, in New South Wales, their air was thick with ash. It was just like, everything was just orange and ash and just horrible. I just so felt for them. It was so difficult to live through something like that, isn't it? Mm. You have frozen for me, so I'm not sure if I have frozen.
too.
Say that again. You just froze there for a moment.
Oh, sorry. Was it during COVID-19 or was it before?
Just before. It was before. So for those people who'd been through the fire, it was really, you're down, you've been knocked down, and before you can get up again, you kind of knocked down again with this next crazy journey. So yeah, it's been an intense couple of years. Mm.
And that is why we need books like yours, because our kids experience the same kind of anxiety and they have the same kind of wants and dreams and wishes. And it's so difficult for them. And my daughter's dating now, a lovely boy, but it is so hard. So I'm so glad that you wrote a book that really can be shared. And I definitely will communicate this and share this, our conversation, because getting to know you. I mean, I could read your website and I could see everything, but like really getting a breakdown from you was really worth it. So thank you so much. The other thing I want to say is it is really smart to be able to at least manage your own website. I do all of my own sites, but I'm glad because something could come to me and I can make a change or whatever. And
Yes.
your site is great. And I just want to say, I love that you're doing bundling because your books are so great. And I could see where someone would want to have actually a group of all of them. So is it better to buy your books on your website where you could bundle, or is there a bundling offer on like Amazon?
Well, you know what? If someone does buy from me, I often throw in extras, freebies, things like that. So there is an advantage. But there is certainly, I mean, if people are ordering from America, the freight from Australia is a bit, is significant. So therefore, if they order directly from stores and whatever, the books can be printed in America. Although, then again, so if people can order directly from me, they could email me and say, I want these books, and I can have them ordered through the American facilities, so printed in America for them.
Oh.
But it just means then they're shipping from America rather than from here, so I'm not able to slip in the extra books unless they're prepared to pay the extra, freight. So that's the situation with that. I have to say something else before we finish, and that is, you've complimented me on my smile, but I just wanted to say what a beautiful personality you have. You have such a gorgeous smile and such a gorgeous energy. So it's easy to smile on your show because it's in response to you, because you just have this luscious, warm, engaging personality. And you're the sort of person I'd love to have marketing my book. So I'm seeing that you're good at marketing. I'm thinking, oh, what a beautiful lady who, you know, you're just so enthusiastic.
Thank you so much. I just opened up a website called Podcast Promos because, you know, podcasters, authors, you know, that's what you need. Sometimes a lot of people, I'm working right now on some characters that come alive, people, stuffed animals, all that is great. That's what I do for a living. I do logo merchandise. So anything with a logo on it.
Okay.
One of my favorite items. I love this piece right here. And it goes on your phone and then you can hold your phone. A little grip. But it's really about you. So thank you so much for your time today. And everyone, go on the website. I'm sorry. The green hair girl, because I saw her on your website. So what made you think of green hair for her? Was short and she's adorable.
Do you know, it's just one of those things, you know, I'm a firm believer that our ideas are channeled through us, you know, it's how it came. She was just, I was writing it and she just showed up with green hair, you know. It's just how it is. And it was symbolic for me because she represented independent, and also because for me, you know, the earth, looking after the earth, the green hair is symbolic of nature and healing and health and being holistic. And, you know, I just liked all the associations of it. So hence the green hair. And a bit different, Martian, alien.
I love it. I love the creativity. I will tell you, to me, you know, if there's a room of 20 people, I'm going to pick the person that has the colors and the tattoos. And I don't have a tattoo, but I'm always so impressed by it. And just, you're right, independent. And it's funny. So when I went to the Protocol School of Washington to become a international protocol and corporate etiquette educator, the hardest thing was, oh my God, I can't have like beads in my hair. I felt like that was the only thing because I love teaching corporate etiquette, but then I'm like, well, you know, can I have stripes and be different? And that's like my hardest part about just trying to be cool. Because when I was younger, I had my hair shaved on one side. I love unique personality. So she really came out to me like strong. I love her. She would be a cute poster too. Wait, what about a movie with your books? What has anyone approached you?
Yeah, I've been approached and I've actually signed a deal for a TV series. So
Mastery? For which one?
Yeah, Mastery Club.
Yes. Oh my God, that's huge.
That's huge.
Oh my God.
So
a movie that we need this. We need this.
We need it. Yeah. So hold the vision. Yeah.
All right, I got the vision. I know I'll be positive. I'll think about it. I'm really working on that. If I only had that when I was younger, oh my God, all the things, because it isn't so easy to do. You know, you think and then your mind, when you're older, you start questioning everything. When you're younger, you read it, you could vision it, you could feel it, and you could concentrate on it. They don't have all the other stuff that we have in our head.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know we went longer, but I can't help it. I'm sorry. I took 38 minutes and 22 seconds. It was worth every second to me.
It was
thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to close out. Everyone, get the book. I'm just telling you. I'll make sure that everyone has access to your website and the ordering. And thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
Australia's always a place I want to be, too. One day I'm going to come visit you.
Good. All right.